All right, it's that time again. Welcome to our club, My Life, My Business, with our theme, Wish I Was Here, which is all about living an engaged life so that you can enjoy the journey of life. And, still very much based on our leadership theme that we've started, and especially following on that wonderful talk that Shanaz gave last week, specifically on authority from above, within, and below. I thought that maybe to take a bit of a practical approach, in conjunction with this, like a for instance. So quite funny, I say a practical approach and a for instance and a for example. I actually went to look at a book that talks a little bit about authority in the workplace, and I came across a book by Steve Herz, and it's entitled "Don't Take Yes for an Answer." It kind of the title is quite interesting. But this book is really for leaders seeking a breakthrough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to present a little bit, just a summary of some of the key points he makes in the book. And then I'm going to invite Shanaz to make Swiss cheese of what he's saying, whether she's going to agree or not, and have a conversation. So that we can just kind of round off this year in that manner. So anyway, I want to quickly do that so we can have a conversation. So laying the foundation for this book and some of the key points is, he starts off with that the impression you make on others is far more important than your technical know-how. So it's this adage that first impressions do count. And according to research published by the Carnegie Foundation, when it comes to success, your ability to connect with others is 85% more important than your know-how, right? And therefore, if you come across as timid with low self-confidence, either aggressive or you just flat, no energy at all, it won't matter how brilliant you are. You will be viewed as a leader who cannot effectively engage with others. It's quite interesting, right? If you don't know how to communicate your message effectively, people won't see the value in your ideas. And this is where the don't take yes for an answer comes through. He's saying that receiving praise is not good enough. And for this reason, he's saying some workplaces operate under a shadow of fear, or they fear accusations of discrimination. And this then touches sides or connects with what we've been talking about, especially in this month, is that means for women or people of color don't receive feedback that would otherwise help them flourish, which is just a different take, which is quite interesting and I thought quite valid, to a certain degree. So to leave mediocrity behind, you must accept that most people won't be honest with you about your performance, especially if there's underlying issues concerning who you are, especially if you're a person of color or a woman of color in leadership. So you therefore need to stop buying into the myth that you're already brilliant. All right, quite interesting. Take responsibility for your success by asking trusted colleagues direct questions about where you could improve. And therefore, most importantly, be receptive to their responses. Now, he deals with a tool, right? And the tool is, he calls it the AWE tool, A-W-E. A for authority, W for warmth, and E for energy. So let's unpack a little bit what this means. And we'll start with the authority because that's where we left it off last week. So, and it's very practical, I must admit. So, number one, your voice is a tool you can use to embody your authority. And and what does that mean is that, firstly, you need to speak with conviction. How do you do that, speaking with conviction, right? Is you pay attention to the pitch of your voice. Apparently, low voices are associated with age and therefore wisdom. Regulate the pace of your speech. Use crisp, succinct, and declarative sentences. And don't be afraid of silences because, comfortably take a moment before you speak and gather yourself. Moderate the volume of your voice. Not too loud, but also not deadpan, not monotone. Vary the tone of your voice. And when you are able to do this quite consciously, the point is you got to believe in your message. So that carries the part about speaking with conviction. Doesn't matter what your message is, believe it. And then, just to recap, pay attention to the pitch, regulate your pace. Don't be afraid of silences, and moderate your volume. The next part of this is work on your presence. Have the confidence to take a step back and let other people form their own opinion, which is quite interesting because, as we were speaking, is that visibility and invisibility, sitting in a place of authority, especially senior leadership, being there but also being invisible means you have an issue with presence. So it's quite counterintuitive then to say is have the confidence to take a step back and let other people form their own opinions. However, don't undermine your sense of presence by laboring to convince others that your agenda is worthwhile. Especially, you're now fully aware that you've got to work so hard, to be visible to others. So therefore, you're going to assert your agenda. So how do you do so when you do have the platform to speak? Is state your case clearly. Then give your audience. Now this is interesting. And it's very difficult to do, especially if you're trying to be assertive and to be heard. Then you give your audience space to decide for themselves. So believe it or not, according to Steve over here, is this way you will exude authority, right? So you're speaking with conviction, you're working on your presence, you calm, you seem so certain about the message that you have and that you are delivering, but you also trust that that message will be received in the manner that you intend. Yes. Then secondly, the warmth part. Without warmth, authority means nothing. Now, when you don't have self-confidence, this is where this will not work. So you need to have confidence. All right, and how do you develop this? When you lack self-confidence, the focus is really on yourself and how you're performing, how others are seeing you, and trying to break out of that. But warmth allows you to form genuine connections with others. It allows you to find commonality with others. And so rather than trying to assert your worth, right, you pay attention to others and acknowledge the worth of others, right? So it's funny. You want to be seen as worthy, you make others feel worthy. And as you acknowledge the worth of others, you begin to engage deeply with the issues they care about. Now, even if you're sitting with people who are prejudiced, who are stereotypical in their approach, or just downright racist, there's nothing that persuades them otherwise when you are willing to listen to their agenda. And despite their shortcomings, their paradigms, you are still acknowledging their worth. Once again, counterintuitive. So so not only do you then connect with them, but you engage deeply with the issues that are uppermost in their mind. Once you work your way through, you know, paradigms and petty prejudices, you can motivate people to rally around you and support your cause, right? When you display this warmth, and it's quite interesting, displaying warmth is outwardly focused, it's not inwardly focused. So just, you know, some tips according to Steve. To create warmth, give your full attention to people. So once again, you know, this whole adage, and actually I shouldn't say adage, it's, well, yeah, it means literally the same thing, but the principle of the matter is to get warmth, to get worth, you give warmth, you give worth. So you receive what you give. That's the principle in action here. You want to be seen, see others, acknowledge others around you. And because it's a principle, it's like gravity. Whether we can have an opinion, we can contest what is being said, it exists. You can really test it. So there are really two things in that will help you create warmth. And in how you as how you give full attention to people is through active listening. And what's active listening all about? It is about clarifying what somebody else is saying, which means you being present in the moment, and you're not hearing what they are saying so that you're preparing how to respond. Now you're actually making sure that you understand what they are saying and validating what they are saying. And while doing so, you pay attention to body language for congruence. I mean, people say one thing but feel another, and you can see it in the body language. If they're not receiving you well, what are you saying? So it goes back to maybe it's the way you're speaking, the tone of your voice, and such like. But when your focus is on the other person and you clearly understanding what they are saying, and validation requires a level of empathy, all right? But active listening is really 10% verbal and 90%. I just remember it is very broad. We can argue about it, of course, but 90% is the nonverbal communication, what we don't say, and what we are thinking. Some of us are pretty good. We could have the poker face type and can school our expressions not to convey anything. That's practiced and it could be very professional, but most people show where they are at in the way their bodies seem to speak. So then you got to practice mindfulness, right? Be aware of the tone, the pitch of your voice, and therefore also be very aware of your own body language. Are you looking engaged and excited, or are you looking bored? And by the way, you know what kills active listening is having a cell phone in your hands and constantly referring to the text that you're getting. Or even so, these days the cell phone is packed away somewhere. In modern day, you have a watch on your wrist, and that thing is buzzing, and you keep on looking. And now, for me, I get distracted by people, especially in my sessions, physical sessions, face to face, when they're looking at their watches all the time. And my first interpretation was that they're bored, they want to leave, they're running late or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm getting messages. I'm getting emails, WhatsApp text, SMSs, and they're just looking at what's happening while they do so. It's quite interesting. But it's very distracting, right? So little cues like that. So be aware of your own body language when you are talking to somebody. I mean, if you and this is the issue: is you gotta be confident in who you are, accept who you are, embrace who you are, understand, as Shanaz was encouraging, especially women, is that in your skin and who you are, you add value to the teams that you belong to. And because of who you are, that authentic presence and opinion and value not just creates opportunity for value, but delivers in a way that enhances the team, that moves the team into a place of success. Nearly done, nearly done. And then lastly, in the OR tool, so let's recap. We have authority. Then we have warmth. It's quite interesting. I don't know if this was quite expected. I can't wait for some feedback here. But the last one is energy. And energy. So I've been talking about energy for a long time, ever since we got into Clubhouse in different ways, energy leadership. So it's interesting that in OR, energy is important. And so authority earns you respect, correct? Warmth wins you trust. But energy motivates people to follow you. And broadly speaking, within the context of energy leadership, the tool that I really like is with being mindful or self-aware or having a high degree of consciousness. You got to know what you are thinking and believing about who you are. If you do not accept who you are and you're feeling less than, and you're listening to that gremlin voice that's telling you you're not good enough because of the way you look or the way you sound or because of your background or just your past in general, if you think less of yourself, you're going to feel less of yourself, and that is going to be displayed in the way you act. All right, your behavior will definitely follow suit. So, and that is exhibited in the enthusiasm with which you engage with everything. If there's a lot of self-doubt in you, it's going to be displayed in your body language, for example. And so the energy, according to the book, now getting back to Steve's book here, is energy combines conviction in your message with enthusiasm. You are fully engaged in what you are doing in the conversation, in the team, in the objectives of the team. And that engagement, all right, starts first of all the focus on the needs of others. What do others need? I'm not saying you don't have an idea of what it is you want to achieve, but you focus on what the team needs. You focus on what the organization needs, and you engage with that level of enthusiasm while ensuring you achieve the goals that you've set for yourself, and you satisfy your own needs while satisfying the needs of others. And this is the win-win mindset that we need, that we're talking about, because fully engaged people, especially fully engaged leaders, fully engaged followers, and that is the principle, right? And you will find that when you have fully engaged followers, you enjoy the journey of what you are doing. All right, you have direction because you've set your destination, but the ability or the just the experience on a day-to-day, enjoying what you are doing while pursuing the particular destination, goal, vision, or whatever the case might be. So cultivate a deep love of learning and curiosity, along with a sincere desire to help others. And then don't be poker-faced, right? Be vulnerable, right? Vulnerability is a strength. Brené Brown tells us vulnerability is actually a strength, and therefore a strategy is show them that you are open for growth, self-development. You are curious about the people around you. You take notice about who they are and what their needs are. And then you have the sincere, and I mean underscoring sincere desire. Don't pretend now. Sincere desire to help others. And you wear this on your sleeve. You show others that you care. And so that's the OR tool. And what this means is that the way you think is going to drive the way you feel and is going to have certain outcomes, results. So you might as well look at yourself in the mirror today and practice some self love, self compassion, self acceptance. Tell yourself that you love what you see when you are looking at the reflection in your mirror. Well, that is the end of my little talk. And I just once again want to thank in absentia Steve Hurst for his wisdom in his book, from the things that I've taken out of his book entitled Don't Take Yes for an Answer for Leaders Seeking a Breakthrough. So there we have it. Well, I'll be interested to know what Shanaz thinks. Shanaz?
Hi, Jacques. Yes, I think that I agree with him. I recall I had been in a situation where there was someone in leadership who had a brilliant mind, and just the work that this person did was exceptional, and the team as such could have learned so much, but because of the lack of empathy and the lack of warmth, really, the person had the authority, but the person did lacked really the warmth and the empathy, and actually was there was a big revolt in the team, and the person was after a while the person had to step down just because, and I often and I reflect on that, and I think that if that person just had to read the room, like you said, the communication, and I think that the person may have been quite defensive and not vulnerable, maybe because of their own experiences. So I can see that, it doesn't matter, and in fact in academia we see this a lot. You will have brilliant people teaching. They've got all the qualifications, but if they are not engaging the students, first years will tell you in the evaluation that you're completely boring. So I agree with you. And then you can have someone who is truly engaging and warmth, showing that warmth, reading the room, and they can stand in front of a first year class and absolutely get everyone's involvement and engage the class. So I agree with that. I don't think you can just go on authority.
Yeah, so it's really interesting take on all of this, and sometimes you know you know the preamble to all of this when he's talking about receiving praise is not good enough. I mean, people acknowledge you and say you are doing wonderfully well. I give you a high score on your performance review, and yet with the high score and all of this, your career is just not advancing on the one hand, but followership is it's your leadership is being measured in the level and the quality of your followership in most well, in all cases, I guess. And because you inspiring others to achieve their goals, and if on the one hand, starting with resting on your laurels because somebody really gives you great ratings, one on one, but your real impact, whether it's in the boardroom, leadership, other leadership sort of situations, context, or whatever, it's the real impact is not being felt. Then what does that say? So yeah, it is like, on the one, being affirmed is great for the ego, but it's not good enough. So it comes back to something that you said, and I mean it starts off with that, is that authority from within is so important. Otherwise, the authority from above and from below cannot really manifest if you don't really believe in who you are, and be confident that you have what it takes. So it's great to be recognized and to be affirmed, but that ability to actually know what makes you special. Now, once again, we have been doing these assessments with intern candidates in the last 2 weeks, and part and parcel of what we do is a mission statement that kind of distills into more or less a purpose statement, which is, and part and parcel of the journey of getting there is asking candidates what makes them special. And do you know how difficult this generally is? I mean, I can say 90%, if not even higher, struggle to answer this question. Literally, what makes you special? To the point that I'm starting to say to people, you know what? I think you need to phone a friend and ask them whether or not you are special, because we take a lot of things for granted. And I see what you're saying. Maybe if you just want to chat a little bit about the downside of a self-inflated ego. I mean, it speaks about somebody who lacks self-confidence and has a low self-esteem anyway. I don't know, that is certainly my impression. It's like sides of the same coin. Inferiority complexes, superiority complex, they all come from the same place: low self-esteem. And if somebody has this self-inflated ego, if you want an antidote for displaying warmth, is the self-inflated, because the focus is on yourself and how you promote yourself. And obviously, and that's why if you're confident in your own ability, and more than confident, is that is what you lead with, rather than helping others be the best that they can be around you and supporting them in achieving their goals while you're achieving yours, not at the expense of your own goals. I mean, that's a tricky thing. But you're absolutely right in terms of a self-inflated ego does not necessarily follow that you exude this level of authority. It or that you have the influence to inspire and motivate people around you. So the outcome is how engaged are your followers, and it speaks to that the energy part. That energy equals influence. So anyway, you have the are you still there? You have the opportunity.
Yes.
I like the way you said that. Right pitch, right tone, and with a lot of self-confidence, just in your yes. And I don't mean it in Steve's case. He's yes. So if you can just kind of, from everything that you've heard today, just leave us with a message until the end of the year and until we meet again in the new year.
Okay, so I think that authority within is not sufficient. It's one of the aspects that we need to have when we are leading, or the context, whether that's even leading a home or leading in church. And that absolutely the fellowship and how you engage them is just as important. And you can always tell how effective your leadership has been when you see the results of the team, rather than focusing only on the praise you get. It's in the results of the team that I think that you'll see whether people are following you, whether they are engaged. And I love the idea of an engaged leader and then an engaged fellowship. And I think that that's what I'll be taking with me, as I plan for 2023. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Shanaz, and thank you for being such a great and attentive listener, but also such a wonderful, clear speaker. I suppose it's part and parcel of your occupation. So it comes across, and thank you for your generosity in sharing. The principle of one is that if at least it touches one person, even if we don't see that change, we trust that that change happens. So thank you for being such a great supporter. The moral support has been phenomenal. So yes, I wish you a great festive season, a blessed one, a blessed Christmas, and may 2023 be the year in which all your goals, and so it's a wish, but all your goals are met.
Thank you, Jacques, and the same to you. And I see Julia as well. So thank you very much for your support. I think Mondays have been it's really been it sets the tone for my week, and it's been a little bit of an anchor and a support, through the loss of my mom, and even speaking to her before. So I really appreciate it. I'm gonna miss the Monday. It's like a Monday pep talk. So I'm gonna miss the Monday. I'm gonna miss the Monday pep talk. But I look forward to 2023 and wish you and Julia well also with the holidays, and then also in 2023, and just a blessed time with your family and friends.
Thank you, Shanaz. And for those listening, well, we wish you all of the best, a safe, merry, sure, but also safe. Look after yourself, festive season. And until we chat again in the new year, we will engage you, come back refreshed with more sort of pep talks. Maybe we should change our byline. Pep talks, Monday pep talks in the new year. So thank you everyone for those of that have been listening and giving us comments. Thank you for all of that. But yes, until we chat in the new year. Bye for now.